Hey there, grade 6. New video for you guys today. This one focusing on equivalent fractions and division. And so by the end of this video, hopefully we can achieve learning targets, which there are two of them. The first one says to find equivalent fractions using division. And the second one is to be able to reduce fractions. And when we say reduce fractions, we mean get them down into lowest, simplest form or lowest terms. And so what we're going to do when we start this stuff up is we are going to start with just drawing some equivalent fractions. And so here's the first slide, and they're asking us to name these equivalent fractions. And so if I look over here, this one is 2 out of 4. This one is 3 out of 6, or 3 over 6. This one is 4 over 8. And this one is 5 over 10. Then it says, then group the shaded and unshaded parts by circling them. So in each of these, I'll just change colors for a quick sec. So here is unshaded versus shaded. Here we have unshaded versus shaded, unshaded, shaded, and so on and so forth. Okay? So each time it's the same sort of grouping of shaded and unshaded, and they all represent the same kind of thing. And so what we say then is that all of the drawings represent 1/2. So then what can we say? And what we can say is that, if we group all the shaded parts together and all the unshaded parts, I'll have 2 equal parts, one shaded, the other one shaded, and so the fraction of the whole that is shaded is always going to be 1/2. And these ones here, again, this 2/4, 3/6, 4/8, 5/10, these are all equivalent fractions. And so that's what that represents. That's what we say. Now, what we're going to do now is look at this drawing here, and this one is 4 out of 8. But if I want to erase this line that they have here, then what I get is 2 over 4. Okay, so you can again make equivalent fractions if you start larger up here like you would versus if you were to simplify it down. Right? And if we were to simplify this down even more, right, we can get even simpler. We could say, well, this still represents 1/2 or 1 over 2 is what that's going to represent, right? So, and that's what it says here, that 4 over 8 is the same thing as 2 over 4, and which represents 1/2. So we can make equivalent fractions from the same picture. So then just a bit of practice about saying, hey, imagine we're erasing the broken line. So over here, just change colors again. Over here I have 2 over 4. And then if I get rid of that dotted line, then what I get is 1 over 2. Here I would have 4 over 8. And if I get rid of those 2 dotted lines, then I get 2 over 4. And so what we need to start thinking about is, if we don't have the picture, how could we possibly get from 2 over 4 to 1 over 2? And the way we start thinking about that is by thinking about starting to use division. And so the question here is, how many parts do I have to group together to get 3 parts for the whole? Okay, so I would need to group this part, and then I would need to group this part, and then one more color, I would need to group this part to get 3 parts for the whole. Okay, and so 2 of them are shaded. So we can say then that 4/6 represents the same thing as 2/3. Okay, so 4/6 does indeed equal 2/3. And if we start thinking about division, we can figure out the number that we would use to, in this case, divide the numerator and denominator by to get to a fraction that's in lower terms, right? And so what we would say is I would divide 4 and 6 by 2, and that's going to, 4 divided by 2 equals 2, and 6 divided by 2 equals 3, and that's going to help me simplify the fraction down into what's called lowest terms. Going forward, when we answer these types of math questions, mathematicians often want these kinds of answers in lowest terms. And so doing some division questions or simplifying through division will help us get down to lowest terms. Okay, so a wee little bit of practice. We're going to just define the missing numerator. So over here, we're going to try to get from 15 to 5. And in order to do that, I know that I need to divide by 3, which means that this also has to be divided by 3. And so that's going to give me 1. So I would say that 3 over 15 is equivalent to 1 over 5. Over here, I'm trying to get from 16 to 4. And so I would divide 16 by 4 to get to 4. And that scale factor applies to numerator and denominator. And so 12 divided by 4 is 3. And so that's just a quick look at, we've kind of already looked at finding equivalent fractions by using multiplication and just sort of get larger and larger. This way looks at it in reverse, where we're starting with a larger fraction and we're trying to get back to a simpler fraction with smaller numbers, and we do that using division. Okay, and so that's really all I need to describe. And so the practice is on page 157 and 158. Thanks for watching. Have yourselves a great day, and I will talk to you guys soon.